Today's episode, we are talking all about how to prepare for outings with seniors in home care, especially those living with dementia, Alzheimer's, or other cognitive challenges. Whether you're heading to a doctor's appointment or just running an important errand, these trips can be stressful if you're not prepared. We'll walk you through how to pack for success, how to emotionally prepare your client, and how to manage common behaviors during the outing, and how to advocate effectively at the appointment. Whether you're a family member or a professional caregiver, this episode provides some strategies you may want to include in your next outing.
Hi, it's Karen and Rick with Just Like Family Home Care. Do your parents need more care than you can give? We're here to help. We offer 24-hour premium care with a consistent helper.
Our home care services include transportation, personal care, housekeeping, and even overnight and dementia care.
At Just Like Family, we focus on relationships, ensuring your loved one is matched with someone perfect for them. We can help you navigate the aging journey and change your life. Learn more and go to justlikefamily.ca.
I'm your host, Janelle, and today we're focusing on something that can feel surprisingly complex. Today's episode came requested by one of our caregivers here at Just Like Family Calgary. She requested an episode on how to take seniors in home care to a doctor's appointment. When dementia, Alzheimer's, or other cognitive challenges are in the mix, there can be a few things that we can prep as caretakers to navigate these outings with care and purpose. These outings are so much more than just getting from point A to point B. They're emotional, logistical, and sometimes they can be unpredictable. But with some solid preparation for both the client and the caregiver, these outings can become smoother and less stressful for everyone. Alright, so let's start the episode by kind of discussing why appointments can be hard and how we can ease that a little bit. So let's start with the emotional side. Doctor's appointments can be intimidating for anyone, but for seniors with cognitive challenges, the unfamiliar environment, the long waits, the confusing questions can lead to agitation, fear, even resistance, and other behaviors. Sometimes we can see people exhibit behaviors that can take us a little bit by surprise, or we expect them, but we're not sure how to handle them. Let's dive into how we can prepare both our client and ourselves for these appointments. So for the client, we want to make sure that we keep explanations super simple. We can say things like, "We're going to the doctor's just to make sure that your body's feeling great." We can avoid overwhelming details. We don't want to provide too many details because this can sometimes and oftentimes increase to confusion, and that can lead to further agitation. The next thing that we want to do is we want to avoid surprises. We want to let them know, maybe a day before or the morning of their appointment or outing, and we want to use a calm, reassuring tone and remind them that this is what the outing is about today. You're going to be safe. You're going to be supported. This is what's happening. That way they know exactly what's happening for that outing. We can also consider bringing comfort items. So maybe that might be like, a lucky pair of socks that they wear to doctor's appointments, or a familiar sweater, a scarf, maybe even a photo. A favorite snack is often a great tool. Providing them with a favorite snack to help them feel secure during that appointment, especially maybe during a big long wait time. But you also have to keep in mind that if they're doing blood work or something like that, they may not be able to have food or certain fluids. Some clients also have like a dementia pet, so maybe you want to bring that on the appointment. You basically want to make sure that they feel safe, which can include ensuring that they are prepared for the appointment with their cane, maybe their wheelchair, their walker, making sure that they're wearing proper footwear. We don't want to be taking someone out of the house if they're wearing their house slippers and the conditions outside are icy, right? So we want to make sure that they're comfortable for their appointment. The next tool that you could potentially use is using visuals. Some people respond really well to visuals or a photo of their doctor or a photo of that outing, especially if they're a little bit more confused. So maybe they don't really understand, where are we going? And maybe it might be beneficial for you to show a picture of wherever you're going. You could even just pull it up on your phone. It doesn't have to be a printed picture. You can just go into Google and search what you're looking for. The other tool that you can provide is providing them with something to look forward to after the visit. Now, what this does is it kind of decreases a little bit of how overwhelming the visit could be for them. So the time leading up to the appointment can cause a lot of anxiety, and sometimes it is helpful to know that there is, a little bit of a light at the end of the appointment. This could be going out for a sweet treat after the appointment or outing, or doing some other light and fun activity that they can look forward to. Next, let's talk a little bit about the caregiver side of things. So as a caregiver, it's beneficial for you to know the client's common behaviors, if they do have behaviors, or how they respond to appointments or that specific outing. So, you want to ask yourself, do they get restless in the waiting room? Do they freeze under bright lights? How do they anticipate triggers? How are you going to be able to redirect them or soothe them when they are feeling a little bit anxious in these environments? If you are unsure, please contact your management team, or maybe reach out for some assistance in, figuring out how you can manage these appointments or these outings with the tool set that you need. The other thing that a caregiver can do, now this isn't always possible, but sometimes you can prep the appointment ahead of time. In some instances, you can call the clinic or the appointment or whatever you're doing ahead of time and let them know that you are bringing a client in and you require a few additional things. So this can be beneficial so that the clinic or office or receptionist knows exactly what to expect when you guys arrive. Particularly, this is really important if you're dealing with a client who has a potential to exhibit some sort of behavior. Other factors to consider is to, if you can, book a quieter time slot. If you are a caregiver that is doing the appointment with the client and the doctor, and you will be present in the appointment, you may want to jot down a few of your concerns beforehand. This can be helpful if you have some concerns you want to bring forward, if you are attending the appointment with the client, and if they're going with their spouse. You may want to relay some of that information to their spouse or whoever is their caretaker there as well with you. A caregiver perspective can bring in a lot of value to the appointment, especially because you might be a caretaker that is spending a lot more time with the one-on-one with the client rather than somebody else who is taking them to that appointment. In some cases, a client's data or chart recording, if you're monitoring things like blood pressure or other vitals, I would recommend that you bring those into the appointment as well, or have them jotted down for whoever is bringing them into that appointment with them. The next segment I want to talk about is the appointment survival kit, or what I like to call a grab and go bag. Now, this isn't just for hospital visits or, appointments, but I have always used a grab and go bag. Now, what a grab and go bag is, it is a bag that is just always ready to go, either by the door or in the vehicle, and it is packed with essentials that you could need for basically any outing. It doesn't have to be a doctor's appointment. And here are a few items that I would include in a grab and go bag. So I would include a change of clothes, wallet, ID, a list of medications, so this could be like a MAR sheet or even just a note, that's fine. I would also consider a copy of the green sleeve if they have one. I would also consider an extra change of briefs or Depends, probably 1 to 3 depending on the client. Hand sanitizer, a small first aid kit if you have that accessible. You could also include things like extra utensils. If you're going out having a snack for a picnic, you may want to include, an extra set of utensils, hand wipes, Kleenex, a water bottle, extra dose of PRN medications if your client is on a PRN medication, and a list of emergency contacts. I suggest that caregivers and families create a grab and go bag, and in this bag they have like a duotang or something like that that has that essential information that you might need in times of an emergency or for appointments. So in this duotang you can include the emergency contacts. It should also include the nearest emergency shelter to their home address, a list of their medications and allergies, a brief description of their attributes. Now, the reason why I say that is because this can be particularly important for clients that are prone to escaping or wandering away, or, a client or somebody gets lost out of your sight. Obviously, we don't want that to happen, but unfortunately, it can happen, and it does happen. And in order to prepare for these stressful situations, I would recommend that you have just a quick attribute. How tall are they? What color are their eyes? What color is their hair? What are they wearing or generally wearing? Do they have any tattoos? Do they have any body markings? Those are all important things that you may want to jot down in an emergency duotang so that you can report it to the police or whoever is helping you to search for this person. You may also want to include a photograph of your client or your person that you're taking care of, just a small printed photo that you can put in the duotang so that you can also show. So let's say in a worst case scenario, which does happen, obviously we don't want it to happen, but let's say you lose your client or you lost sight of them or they ran away. I've had clients run away on me and you may want to have a photo so that you can actually just physically show the police or whoever that you're needing assistance from to help search for your person. I also have a list of some other items that you may want to consider having in the grab and go bag for outings and appointments. First off is distraction tools. So this could be things like fidget items, maybe it's a deck of cards, it could even be a stress ball, maybe a coloring book with some markers, a book, maybe some stickers. I've had clients really like stickers and then like a sticker book. Some sort of distraction might be helpful. Sensory aids, so this could be something as simple as bringing sunglasses with you, noise canceling headphones, anything sensory related. Now this obviously might not be necessary for everybody, but that's just an idea that might be of benefit for some of you. The other thing that I would consider bringing for probably most of my outings, honestly, is a snack. Granola bars are great, and a bottle of water. And I would also recommend a small notebook. That way you can jot down what is necessary, or you can use your phone, whichever works best for you. Otherwise, that is a grab and go bag. It's just a nice bag that you can take with you and it's ready to go. You don't have to get it all ready, set up. Actually, you know what? We could also add things like an umbrella, a rain jacket, anything that you might need on an outing. It doesn't have to be a doctor's appointment, but just any outing in general, put it in that grab and go bag. You can get, a really cheap $20 bag from Amazon and just, get it all stuffed up, ready to go, and just have it by the door ready to go for your outings. The next segment I want to talk about today is, what do you do during the appointment? Like, how do you support behavior and comfort during the appointment? Having a caretaker bring someone to their appointment may include being part of the appointment, or maybe you're just transporting them. In that case, if you are just transporting a client with just like family, the caretaker should be in the waiting room waiting for the appointment to finish. If you are being attended to the appointment with their spouse and the spouse is not in the appointment room with the client, you will be responsible for, giving comfort and support to the spouse that is in the waiting room with you. As a caregiver, being part of that journey of bringing them to an appointment, and you are actually attending the appointment, or maybe they are just need to decompress after the appointment, here are a couple things that might be of beneficial to you. So first off is, as caretakers, we naturally are, part of our role is to be their translator. So doctors can sometimes be overwhelming with the questions. They have a lot of questions because they want to make sure, that's how they get their information necessary. It's not uncommon for people to be confused or overwhelmed when these questions happen, and it's nice for the caretaker to gently rephrase the words that make sense for the client so that they can understand it, because at the end of the day, the caretaker 99% of the time knows how to deal or knows how to respond to the client a little bit better than the doctor does, just because you know how they respond best to certain words or certain sentences. You know them probably likely a lot better than the doctor does. The other recommendation is to sit beside them, not across from them. So you want to be beside them, offer comfort, reduce the feeling of that confrontation. So sit next to them. One of our roles as caregivers is to ensure that we are redirecting with kindness. So if they become agitated or try to leave during the appointment, we can say things like, let's just wait a little bit longer and then we'll have our favorite snack and we get to go, do this fun thing after your appointment. We want to avoid arguing with them and, trying to coerce or force them to stay for the appointment, especially when they're feeling anxious and things like that. But we want to be able to still redirect because we still want to encourage them to participate and be part of that appointment and actually do the appointment. However, sometimes, we have so much anxiety that we just need to go. We can't stay. They feel very flustered. They feel very anxious. But as caretakers, it's our responsibility to redirect them in the way that they need to be redirected. However, that also means that we need to validate their feelings. So if they're scared or frustrated, we need to respond with empathy. I know that's really difficult. I know it's a lot. I'm here for you. Let's get this done, and then we can go do X, Y, Z after, and it'll be a great day. So the appointment went great. Everything is fine and dandy. You went on your outing afterwards, or some sort of sweet treat, or something to look forward after the appointment or the outing. And now we have, what do you do after the appointment? Well, once you're home, once the client has transitioned back into their routine, we want to, possibly most likely give them some rest. We want to offer a familiar activity or some sort of comfort food. Like I said earlier, this could look like going out for a sweet treat or some sort of comfort meal. We can gently reflect on something positive that happened from the appointment, especially if it was a stressful appointment. You were so brave today, you did great at your appointment today, you got your blood work done. Let's really encourage the positive aspect of that appointment, even if it was very stressful. And then for you as the caretaker, it's important that you take a little bit of time to debrief. So what went well in the appointment? What did not go well? What can be adjusted for the next time you take an appointment or do an appointment or an outing with your client? Do we need to update the care plan? And do we need to notify the office or a family member of any changes? Remember, these outings can be emotionally taxing for everybody, and it's okay to feel tired and overwhelmed after these appointments. So yeah, that's what I have for you today. The closing thoughts I have for you today: caring for someone during an appointment or even an outing is more than just escorting them. It's advocacy, it's emotional labor, it's care and action. But with the right prep, a grab-and-go bag, a prepared outing, and a thoughtful plan, you can turn a potential taxing day into a meaningful moment of connection and care. Thanks for listening to the Just Like Family Calgary Home Care podcast. And until next time, remember, preparation is a form of compassion. I hope this episode brought you all some valuable insight and support. Please share with other caregivers and families. And if you have anything else that you would like to share regarding how to prepare for outings, let me know. I would love to hear your feedback. Until next time, bye.